What's in your way is the way. There's nothing extemporaneous in your life that is keeping you from getting what you truly desire. What you feel like is an obstacle in your way right now might just be, accept that it just might be the very thing that you've been asking for so that you can learn the skills and have the courage to move into that life, that fulfillment, that dream, that excitement, that passion that you have been asking for. Hi, good morning. It's Christine, your emotion coach, and today we are talking about 4 empowering ways of how to meet and move through challenges, because we all have them, and that's actually kind of our starting point, our beginning of, we all feel that we shouldn't have problems, that we shouldn't have challenges, or we see a challenge and we freak out. I would say, especially as highly sensitives, it's like we keep score, right? This is how I came up with the 7 key areas, because so many times I really do feel like somebody who's just like keeping so many plates spinning, and I'm always trying to like avoid having all these plates falling, and I'm just like, ah. Or another image I had in my head for a long time was like, I feel like I'm on the roof and I see all these holes in the roof, and I'm just trying to frantically stuff all the holes in the roof. And as I'm stuffing them, there are more holes that come up in the roof. And that might work really well for roofers, but it's not really true to life, right? We can't really have a super smooth going life all the time with nothing coming up that challenges us, especially as highly sensitives, because we are so finely tuned that yes, there are going to be things that are coming up, maybe small things, maybe big things, but they're going to be steadily things coming up. And it really helped me tremendously once I shifted my focus from I shouldn't have these issues, like, oh my gosh, this challenge just came up. I need to, get over it. I need to fix it. I need to get it done as quickly as I can so I can go back to like my smooth going life, right? I need to go back to that nervous system calming down. And yes, we do want our nervous system to calm down, but we do that not by not wishing challenges upon ourselves. So, yes, we want an easier life, but it also is a matter of like learning how to calm that nervous system despite challenges, despite what might be going on in life right now, right? That was the big thing for me to realize. I don't have to wait for calm seas in order to feel like I'm the captain of my ship, in order to feel like I can enjoy life, in order to feel like I can feel fulfilled, in order to feel like I can go to bed happy rather than absolutely exhausted. The older I get, the more I noticed how draining emotions can be, how like exhausting, physically exhausting emotions can be. If I ruminate about something a lot, if I have a lot of my kiddos' emotion that I kind of need to balance out, if I am thinking about something a whole lot, if I like can't make up my mind, am not taking the time to process my emotions, at the end of the day, I'm just like wiped out. So it's so huge to realize, oh my gosh, I don't have to have calm seas. I don't have to have everything in my life be right, be perfect, be calm, be not challenging in order for me to feel okay, in order for my nervous system to calm down. I can do that in midst of the storm. I can muster up so much courage and get my focus and my mindset in a direction to where I can be the captain of that ship at the wheel, going, bring it. I can do this. I can navigate through the storm. So that's what we're talking about today, right? So the first thing I want to talk to you about is don't disqualify yourself from being able to handle this challenge that's come into your life, right? Because our first reaction, I know I said it, probably up until last year, until I really became aware of how damaging these thoughts were in my head of like, I can't handle this, right? Even now, sometimes I still catch myself when my kiddo's just like rambunctious, making a bunch of noise at the end of the day, and I'm like, I can't handle it. And I'm like, I can't handle it. But right now, I really don't want to. So let's figure out a way to be more quiet and for me to catch my breath in order to be more resilient to this, right? So when you catch yourself saying that, I can't handle this, or when you're faced with a new challenge and you get this, this tightening in your chest where you're like, this is too big. It's way too big. I can't handle this. I can't handle this, right? When you catch yourself saying that, smile, take a deep breath, and then go, I can handle this. I will handle this. I might not have all the knowledge or the skill at this very moment in order to know how I will handle this, but right here, right now, the best thing I can do is I can decide that I am going to meet this challenge, that I'm not going to run and hide, even though you might be, do that for a little while, but then to come back out and say, hey, you can always be like, pause, I'm going to run and hide for like half an hour or a day, and then I'm going to be back here and I'm going to face this dragon. I'm going to face this challenge because I know this is part of my life. I know that this is the way. It's not in my way. It is the way. I know that this was placed in my path for a purpose, for a reason. I believe it is here to serve me. How can it serve me? Yes, how can I grow in order to meet this challenge? Yes, huge reframe. God, it'll make such a difference in how you approach something. It's okay if that initial reaction is like, I can't do this. It's okay. It's normal. It's okay. But then be like, okay, I'll be right back. Gather yourself, take a deep breath, go some of the other steps I'm going to be talking about, and then come back and say, I'm ready. I'm ready. I can do this. I can do this. Even just starting to say that, I can do this. I can handle this. I can handle this. I can do this. I can do this. Number 2, learn to model others and ask for help. Gosh, we have a hard time doing that as highly sensitives, don't we? We think that nobody else is struggling with this, probably more so for us because we are only 15 to 20% of the population. So we're so used to this feeling of like, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm having a hard time, whatever I'm struggling with, 80% of the population isn't struggling with, and they think it's no big deal. So I'm kind of used to being alone in this and feeling like I'm overreacting and feeling like I'm weak. So why would I even ask them? They'll probably laugh at me. They're probably going, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. Really? At your age, you still can't do this? That's a hard one, right? Shame is so close for us. We think like we shouldn't even have this problem, right? Depending on what it is. I shouldn't even have this problem. Just yesterday I was listening to a beautiful healing story through cancer, and he was only 16 at the time, and he said, I was so ashamed of my illness. So ashamed. I remember when I had to have my first crown put in, and I was like, 38 or 39, and I was like, I'm having my first crown before 40, so ashamed of like, somehow I should have prevented this, right? Shame lays so close to us, and we're going to be talking a lot more about shame. Definitely look at my other videos. Yes, it's a big deal, especially for us. I forget who says it, either Brene Brown or maybe, no, I think it's Becky Kennedy from Good Inside, right? Mostly geared towards parenting. But, we were kids at some point too. And she says for us highly sensitives, or how she calls them deeply feeling kids, shame is so close to what they're feeling, to who they are, to who the first kind of reaction, what they dip into, right? To love, next to love is shame so quickly. So just be aware of that, right? When your first instinct is like, this is too big, I need resources, right? Luckily, usually as highly sensitives, we love to read, we love to research, but it's also a matter of like just not feeling ashamed that this is even happening. Because the other thing that can happen with like wanting to research and read books, and these days everything is so quickly at our fingertips, we get overwhelmed, right? There's so much out there, and also just so much scary information out there. While I was pregnant, my doula told me like the most important thing. She was like, while you're pregnant, do not Google any symptoms that you're feeling. Ask me, do not Google any symptoms. And that has really stuck with me, and I really love that because, oh my gosh, you can really get into a rabbit hole and get crazy in your mind looking up things. At the same time, I don't want that to scare you away from researching, right? So often we have this fear of like, what if this is really true? That's when it helps to talk to a coach, to talk to a friend, to journal, to really get those deepest fears out of like, what am I really afraid of? What is like the worst case scenario that I'm afraid of? Get that out in the open and then say, okay, well, if I'm not acting on anything, this is probably more likely to happen than if I'm researching, if I'm getting the right help, if I'm going to the right person, right? Getting that fear out of the way so you're not frozen in action, right? Yeah, right here I wrote, it's like jumping into the cold water, right? We're thinking, oh, if I research this and then I find out more about this and that it's actually true and how weak I actually am, or that this health concern is really bigger than I thought. I don't know if I can handle that, right? We're afraid of the unknown. What if I can't handle that? And then go back to step number 1. I can handle it. I can handle anything that comes my way. I can handle it. I have resources. I have friends. I have people who love me around me. I'm connected to my higher being. I have the resources. I can handle this. What is it that I'm really afraid of, right? And then jump in. It's like jumping into cold water. When you first get in, woo, it is so cold. It is so cold. But once you're in it, it's like that initial shock is over and you can acclimate actually pretty quickly usually. You can do this. Number 3, meet the challenge with a smile and with courage. I love this, right? All these are based on Brendon Burchard's Daily Fire. I do one every morning with his Daily Fire in his GrowthDay app. Go check it out. I tried it for 7 days, totally hooked on it. Even though I learned so much on YouTube every day anyway, it is nice to have it all together in an app and to have somebody give you a particular topic every morning. Maybe one that I wouldn't have chosen for myself, right? So here I am, bringing it to you as a highly sensitive. Brendon's 3rd step is meet it with a smile and with courage, right? That's kind of reinforcing that step number 1 of like, I'm going to decide to do this. I'm going to decide that this is my path. I'm going to decide that I am going to meet this challenge. And also, I wrote this note of like, this is a good time to journal, to like remind yourself, what have been the hardest things in your life so far? And look at everything that you have overcome so far, that you've already overcome in your life. Look at all the strength and knowledge and know-how and courage that you have gathered. You can do this. You are an incredibly strong being, and not just in this human form, right? This is when we go to the step number 4. Lean into faith and patience. Lean into faith, right? This is when it comes back down to I do believe. Did you make your I do believe list, your believe list? You can look more of what I'm talking about when you download that free guide that I put together for you, healingyouremotions.com/shift. 3 easy steps to shift into any emotion, any vibration, any frequency. One of the steps is making your I do believe list. When I am totally frazzled and I am feeling fear gripping me and I'm feeling like this is too big, I can't handle this, I pull out my I do believe list, which I wrote on like a huge like poster board, right? I love getting these big like drawing pads and writing it, whatever is most important. And this I do believe list has saved me so many times, because it gets, even just by reading it, it gets me back into the feeling of, I'm not alone in this. I believe in a universe. I believe in a higher self. I believe in that connection. I believe in angels. I believe in guides. I believe that the universe does not mean ill on me. I believe that I attract everything through my thoughts, through my emotions. I do believe that life does not end with this physical body, that there is so much. And a lot of times, my worst fear, especially right now as a single mom, is death. Where would my kid be without me? Where would I be without my kid? Death seems to be just the most horrible thing in the world to me, at least right now. And that's when I remind myself, I do believe that this physical life is only a small portion, a very small portion of who we actually are and what we're actually here to do in this universe. And that helps me to kind of get over that feeling paralyzed in that fear. Yes, it still matters a lot to me, because I love being able to hug my little one and be here in this physical life, in this physical body. But it takes off the edge. Your I do believe list leads you back down to, what is it that makes up the essence of who I am? The thing that pulls me through the tough times, right? What do I believe? There are angels, there are guides, there's my higher self. I do believe. I love that description from Burchard, who says your higher self is like on the mountaintop and you're down here in the valley. And yes, when you feel lost and confused and you don't know where to go, your higher self sees exactly which way to go. So trust it. Take the time to tune in. Most of the time, the first step to take is to calm yourself, to ground. Also, another great idea why you want to work with a coach, because gosh, so much of the time, my job as a coach is just to get you back into a state of receptiveness, right? Being able to receive your higher self, being able to receive the inspirations, being able to remember that you are so much more than just this physical body. Gosh, and then just be open to magic, be able to things unfolding. It was so beautiful when I listened to the story of this 16-year-old, right? This is a long time ago. I think he's now in his 30s or 40s. He was 16, and this even made the news. He was 16, he was going through chemo, and he decided he couldn't handle it anymore. He didn't want to do this anymore. If that meant he was going to die, then he wanted to enjoy the rest of his, remaining time and not go through chemo. So he ran away from home, and he was in the skateboarding community, and it kind of got taken up there, and eventually, made it back to his parents. A beautiful story. I think his story is Billy Best. He even has a book, Billy Best Beat Cancer, or something like that. Look it up. It's a beautiful story, true story. And once he got back to his parents, through the media and everything, everybody had written him so many letters just telling him how many resources there are available through diet and natural healing of cancer. It was such a beautiful story where people are really wanting and willing to share resources and information. So often, like I said, we're so ashamed of what's going on, or so worried about what's going on, that we don't talk about it, that we don't reach out, that we don't ask for help, that we don't do the research. There are so many people on this earth. I know someone knows exactly what you are struggling with and what you're going through, and has found a way to the other side. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I struggled through my teenage years, through my 20s, through my, early 30s. I struggled through that time not knowing that I am highly sensitive. And gosh, I just kind of bumbled through, and somehow luckily found, I think through divine guidance, found my way. It just took me a while. I found that way of how to be more courageous, of how to feel more at home in my own body, of how to handle and bring out the best of my high sensitivity. And it is so hard for me to see teenagers and 20-year-olds and 30, and even anyone with high sensitivity struggle because they haven't yet found how to embrace this beautiful trait and make it work for them. Gosh, I know it's hard. We are so finely tuned, right? We're that finely tuned car alarm that will go off when a leaf falls down on us. I get it. It's challenging sometimes, but there is so much beauty, and I would not trade it for the world. Emotions are so incredible, and when we are high flying, tuned into our creativity and passion and beauty, oh my gosh, watch out. That's why I'm here, right? This is why I'm here, to bring this message. I'm sure there is something that you have gone through. Make sure that you are also willing to be the teacher, right? Not just the student, but also the teacher to those who come after you. We can build this beautiful community of helping each other, uplifting each other, reminding each other how beautiful life can really be, despite challenges, with challenges, right? What's in your way, what seems to be in your way, is the way. There are no obstacles keeping you from what you truly desire. There are placed there for you to be able to meet and to be able to grow into the person, to then be able to hold that vibration of the things that you truly desire. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you tomorrow.